smokes. You're not going to believe this, but
a man sets himself ablaze right in front of a courthouse where Donald Trump is having his trial. I'll say it again. A man sets himself ablaze right in front of a courthouse where Donald Trump is having his trial and leaves a manifesto online. Do you know what this man's manifesto said and the reason why he burned himself and unalived himself in front of the courthouse where Donald Trump was having his trial? He says that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are being used by major corporations, Google, a lot of the big companies, to launder money and take the retailers' money. He's saying that it's a Ponzi scheme. He also states that everyone who's into crypto right now will be left holding a bag because that money's already gone. He states that the world governments are using this to drain the pockets of everyone, and eventually when it goes to zero, it will send the world back to a financial downfall that we haven't seen since the Great Depression. So,
yes, their agenda is now clear. A lot of theories came out about this man, but we discovered something. We have seen photos with Bernie Sanders and even Bill Clinton. But there is something more concerning. Democrats want to unalive Trump. When you take a look at this article, former JC committee chair moved to strip Secret Service protection from anyone sentenced to more than 1 year in prison. You can clearly see what is going on here. If this bill is passed, they are targeting Trump. He should have no protection so they can carry out their agenda.
It's a natural inclination.
There have been systems, but
right, always.
What makes it particularly galling and hard to live with is when you call that system a democracy.
Right.
That's too dishonest for me. I would much rather live in a monarchy where everyone thinks the king has been assigned by God to rule over us and his whims are law. And, that makes sense. I don't like it, but at least it has internal coherence.
Because Putin does what he would like to do, kill his opposition, imprison his opposition, drive, journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance. That's what Trump really wants. And so we have to be very conscious of how he sees the world, because in that world, he only sees strongmen leaders. He sees Putin, he sees Xi, he sees Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Those are the people he is modeling himself after. And we've been down this road in our, world history. We sure don't want to go down that again. And especially when, my view, having negotiated with Putin and knowing that one of the reasons he went after me is because he knew I would, deal with him in an appropriate way, and Trump would basically do whatever he wanted. It's really important to think about what could happen to our world with Trump back in the White House, withdrawing us from NATO, not caring about what happens in Europe, our biggest trading partner, the place where we share values with, the idea that he wants Ukraine to fail, the idea that he doesn't want us to be able to surveil our enemies. I mean, this is a very scary prospect.
Yes, if you haven't watched the Joe Rogan Tucker Carlson episode yet, I will highly recommend you to do that. It is important. They said a lot of things that I can't even say on this platform. Now taking a look at Hillary Clinton, you can see exactly what she is actually spewing out on this interview.
So this just happening right now. Take a look at this. House Democrats have introduced legislation that would remove former President Donald Trump's Secret Service protection if he is convicted in any of his criminal trials. Now, for those of you who don't know, once you are president of the United States, you get Secret Service protection for the remainder of your life. Trump has Secret Service protection. Even when he's in court, he has protection. If he were to go to jail, he would have Secret Service protection. But Democrats, many of the Democrats who are on the January 6th committee, they are trying to get it as to where Trump would not have Secret Service protection if he is convicted of a crime, even though he is the presumptive nominee for president for the Republican Party. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Make sure you're following me right here, giving you the stories you may not see everywhere.
And I feel like, to your point, Bill, the socioeconomic disparities are a lot, and class resentment is a lot, and anti-intellectualism and elitism is what is driving many of these anti-establishment, which are Trump voters, or
Right.
anti-establishment
Absolutely.
voters. So I think that is a huge problem that we have to address. I mean, globalization and, the transition from an industrial to a technological.
Thompson has filed legislation that will remove Secret Service protections from those who have been sentenced to at least 1 year in prison. Thompson previously served as a chair of the January 6th Select Committee. The bill is also called the Deny Indefinite Security and Government Resources Allocated Toward Convicted and Extremely Dishonorable Former Protectees Act, also called the Disgraced Former Protectee Act. It states that Secret Service protection shall be terminated for any person upon sentencing following 7 convictions for a federal or state offense that is punishable for a term of imprisonment of at least 1 year. Thompson Committee previously recommended criminal charges against Trump for the event of January 6. The proposal comes as Maher DA, having bragged falsified business document case against Trump has begun, just one of a multitude of cases against Trump. In the Bragg case alone, Trump could face up to 136 years in prison, 4 years for each of the 34 counts against him, although Trump faces a maximum sentence to 717.5 years in prison. Between the Georgia election case, the Bragg case, the Mar-a-Lago document case, and the January 6 case, you can clearly see exactly what is going on. It is a coordinated effort that they have put out that would target Trump in some of these cases. Now they want him to be moving alone without protection. If Trump was not facing this or running for president, we will not see this happening. It is high time people see through the windows to understand what Democrats are doing here. This person set himself on fire. A lot of things came out. Some said, oh, he set himself because of Trump. He did this because of, all lies. But when we dig through profiles, we realize he was a strong Democrat. It's a strong supporter to Bernie Sanders. We saw him with Bill Clinton, a photo that is circulated on social media.